The bed doesn't embrace you anymore. Sometimes the pillow is soft. The mattress seems to mold perfectly to you. The temperature is just right. The silence of the night is almost absolute. And yet, something inside you stays alert. The body rests, but inside, there's a buzzing, an electric thread of restlessness you can't quite name. It's not pain. It's not insomnia. It's like a part of you refuses to stop. You close your eyes, take a deep breath, turn over once, twice, 5 times. And when sleep finally finds you, it's not a plunge. It's a dragging. It feels like you're being pulled far away. And there, somewhere you can't remember, something begins. When the sun touches the window hours later, you wake up, but your face feels heavy. Your back aches as if you carried something all night. And your eyes, they give it all away. You slept, but you didn't rest. And then the cycle starts again. More coffee, more effort, more, this too shall pass. But deep inside, an old question echoes louder. Why doesn't sleep heal the way it used to? Why has that feeling of waking up light, with a whole body and a clean soul, become so rare? It's like the bed stopped being an embrace and became just a broken charging station. As if you're plugged into a charger, but the cord is loose, barely connected. And every night, the same result. Half-charged energy. And the strangest part is that no one talks about it. Everyone's tired, but pretending it's normal. As if this invisible weight is just part of being human. But what if it's not? What if there's something beyond physical exhaustion? Something science hasn't named yet, but your soul instantly recognizes? A kind of fatigue that comes from somewhere else. From another layer. From another dimension? What if the tiredness doesn't come from the body, but from another dimension? Journeys you don't remember. While the body rests, the soul does not. It rises, slowly detaches itself, sometimes soft as mist, other times like a thread pulled forcefully by something greater. It crosses over, through doors your eyes have never seen, down paths your feet have never walked. During the night, consciousness enters other worlds. Some beautiful, almost sacred, others dense, confusing, like the corridors of an ancient, abandoned temple. You don't remember it, but you've walked through places that don't exist in this world. You've looked into the eyes of beings your rational mind can't describe. You've spoken in languages that aren't learned, only remembered. There are nights when the soul is summoned, for silent missions, for healing reunions, or for battles that drain you. Yes, battles. In the subtle realm, there are wars that will never make headlines. Wars for awareness, for awakening, to keep the spark alive. And some of those wars, you fought, without remembering. Other times, what happens is more subtle. You're called to heal something left unresolved. An ancient trauma, a guilt from another life, a poorly ended pact. Waking up exhausted might be the price of having helped someone, or of having faced yourself in another form. At night, the soul goes where the body cannot, and pays the price of the unseen. The dreams you don't remember are the most important ones. The ones where you return with less energy, but with something invisible. As if a part of you had been replaced by another, older, wiser, but heavier. Have you ever felt like that? Woken up and, for a moment, didn't know who you were? Stared at the ceiling and realized you just come back from somewhere, but couldn't say where? It's not your imagination. It's the soul's memory trying to pierce the veil. And the most mysterious part? Not all of these journeys are imposed. Some were chosen, made before you were born. Agreements between souls. Invisible commitments. Maybe this exhaustion is the energetic debt of something you chose to fulfill. For someone. For yourself. What if your fatigue is the price of something you chose? Invisible prison of artificial sleep. You lie down with a tired body, but there's something in the air that prevents full surrender. As if the silence of the night isn't real silence. There are sounds your ears can't hear, but your field can feel. Invisible waves pass through walls, flesh, thought. Artificial vibrations move like specters. Signals. Interference. Frequencies. Everything around you pulses, even when it should rest. You think you're sleeping peacefully, but the truth is, you're lying in the center of an unstable vibrational field. The Wi-Fi, the phone beside you, the LED lights still plugged in, the digital clock on your nightstand, all of them emit. All of them penetrate. All of them disconnect what should be united, the soul and the body. Deep sleep demands vibrational silence. Not just the absence of sound, but a resting of the field. But today, the field never rests. It's always being invaded, stimulated, strained. The matrix doesn't sleep. It works at night too. But its work is to keep you away from yourself. It interferes with your cycles, distorts your brain waves, interrupts your deepest sleep phases, the ones where the unconscious hands you the keys. And when this happens night after night, the soul starts to lose trust in the body as a shelter. It returns, yes, but it returns with resistance. It returns fragmented. It returns empty. Have you ever woken up with a hangover feeling without drinking? With heavy eyes as if you'd cried for hours? With a tight chest and no idea why? That's the body trying to reintegrate a spirit that came back contaminated by the waves of the prison. The bed, once an altar, has become a cell. The pillow, once a refuge, has become a wall. And sleep, once a portal, has become a simulation. There is engineering behind your exhaustion. And it's not just within you. It's in the environment. In the sounds you can't hear. In the blue light you don't see. In the field you don't cleanse. And the most unsettling part, the more the soul tries to rest, the more it realizes it's sleeping in enemy territory. The body is a sanctuary, but at night, if it's not protected, it becomes an occupied zone. And when the soul can't find peace in its own temple, where does it go? The soul that didn't return whole. You open your eyes, but you don't feel whole. You get up, but something in you stayed behind, caught between the sheets, or in some place even time doesn't recognize. It's as if only a part of you came back, as if an essential piece got lost in the crossing of the night. You drink your coffee, brush your teeth, smile at someone, but inside, a subtle emptiness walks beside you. It's not sadness. It's not ordinary tiredness. It's absence. An absence with no name. A ghostly presence of yourself. You're here but you're less. And you feel it. In your touch. In the sluggish thoughts. In the eyes that don't shine like they used to. The soul is vast. It's made of fragments, layers, memories, symbols. And when it travels, it doesn't always return whole. Sometimes it's delayed. Other times, distracted. And on deeper nights, it breaks. Fragments can get stuck in dreams that never closed. In memories of other lives that opened without permission. In wounds that surfaced during the night but had no time to heal. And what's left? A wounded soul trying to fit inside a hurried body. That's why sometimes, when you wake up, it feels like you're being yanked back with force. Like you're squeezing into a space that no longer fits. The soul tries to retake the wheel, but finds a rigid structure, dulled, unwilling to listen. And so the day begins out of alignment. The body wants action, but the soul needs silence. The body wants movement, but the soul wants to find the pieces left behind. Maybe that's why you look at the sky and feel nostalgic for something you can't name. Maybe that's why that one song hits so deeply, or that smell makes you want to cry for no reason. They're memories of yourself trying to come back, trying to whisper, "I'm still here. I just couldn't make it all the way back." And when you ignore that call, when you go through the day as if you were whole, you don't just carry the tiredness, you multiply it. Because there is no heavier burden than carrying only part of who you are. It's like walking with your suitcase left open, with loose pages of your own book, with your arms outstretched, waiting for something you no longer know how to name. But there is a way, and there is an ancestral gesture that can bring back what was lost in the dark. How do you recover the scattered pieces of the soul from the dark? Words that drain your energy. Not everything that connects to you nourishes you. Some connections exist only to drain, to slowly empty what took you lifetimes to cultivate. During sleep, your energy field opens. The body deactivates its rational defenses. The mind quiets, and in that interval, subtle, almost imperceptible, the threads begin to move. Invisible cords, but real, made of memory, guilt, attachment, pain. Energy that still pulses between you and people who are no longer part of your path, but still live, somehow, inside you. Maybe it's unresolved love. Maybe it's childhood trauma, or an ancient promise the soul carries like a sentence. During the day, these ties are muffled by the rush of life. But at night, they intensify, as if they gain power in the dark. You dream of someone and wake up exhausted. You feel drained, as if you gave something you never meant to offer. Because you did. Energetically, you were connected. Even while sleeping, there are also cords with places. Homes where your energy still lingers. Cities that haven't forgotten your presence. Objects that hold parts of you. And then there are cords with thoughts. Recurring ideas. Fears. Guilts. Internal scripts that keep running while you sleep. Like a program that was never closed. All of this forms a network. A psycho-spiritual web that activates when consciousness pulls back. You are not sleeping alone. You are connected. And not all of those connections are light. Some are draining, ancient, deeply rooted. And the deepest realization is this. You might be allowing it without even knowing, because cutting these cords requires awareness and courage to let go, to close cycles, to say enough, even in the silence of the night. Until that happens, you will remain an open well, a candle lit in a storm, a temple left open on a night of intruders, and you will wake up tired, not because you slept too little, but because you shared your light with those who should no longer have access to it, who's drinking your energy while you dream. The labyrinth of programmed dreams. Not every dream is yours. That phrase echoes like a whisper in the dark. It startles. It confuses. But it makes sense somewhere inside you that you don't quite understand yet. Because deep down, you've suspected it. You've had that dream that felt scripted. Too staged. Too symmetrical. Soulless. You think you dream freely. But what happens when the mind is invaded? When images are implanted? When emotions are induced so that you get lost in them? During sleep, the mind is fertile ground. Open. Receptive. And in that state, not all the seeds planted are yours. The matrix, yes, the same one that limits your waking life, also infiltrates your nights. It uses symbols, familiar settings, familiar voices. It creates stories to entertain or to distract. Sometimes you think you're dreaming of an ordinary place, a grocery store, a school, a subway station. But behind the facade, there's a code, a script, tests, experiments. You walk through corridors with no exit, repeat patterns, make choices that feel like yours, but aren't. And you wake up exhausted because your soul spent the whole night trying to remember who it was before the simulation began. There's a kind of subtle control happening in the dream realm. Energetic implants, emotional programming, files of fear, guilt, shame, inserted like viruses. Have you ever had a nightmare so vivid you felt it in your body? Have you ever dreamed of something that triggered an ancient emotion, but made no sense in your current life? Maybe it wasn't just a nightmare. Maybe it was programming. They use your own inner images against you. Take the faces you love, the places you recognize, and build labyrinths where you get lost. And when you're lost, you're vulnerable. Because in the world of programmed dreams, the goal isn't to help you understand. It's to make you forget. Forget who you are. Forget what you came here to do. Forget that, even in sleep, you have a choice. But there are flaws, cracks in the code, spaces where the soul screams and breaks the simulation. And it's in those moments that you wake up in the middle of the night, heart racing, not knowing what happened, but with the strange certainty that you escaped something. Who's writing your dreams? You or the system? The echoes of past lives that still bleed. Not all exhaustion belongs to this life. Some comes from so far back that the mind has already forgotten, but the body hasn't. You wake up with a tight chest for no reason, a nameless sadness, a guilt tied to no present mistake, a longing with no face. These feelings aren't fiction. They're echoes, emotional residue from past lives, vibrational fragments of stories you lived, but never closed. The soul carries memory, and when the body sleeps, that memory awakens, not as linear recollection, but as an energetic field. You dream of places you've never been, but they feel like home. You see unfamiliar faces, but you recognize them. You cry in the dream and wake up wet with tears, as if you return to an old pain, a wound that never fully healed. At night, the soul revisits records, not by accident. It seeks to free itself, to complete what was left unfinished, to close pacts, to deliver on promises it was never able to fulfill. Some of these encounters are beautiful, others heavy, like facing yourself in a mirror you tried to shatter centuries ago, or reliving a decision that still echoes as karma. This kind of fatigue is subtle. It's not solved with more hours of sleep, or with vitamins or workouts. It's the tiredness of an old soul, of a soul still bleeding in silence from stories no one else remembers, but that still vibrate in your field. Waking up tired might be a symptom of healing in progress, but it might also be a sign you're stuck in an old cycle, reliving, reenacting, rebinding ties that should have been released. The good news is, these echoes only surface when you finally have the strength to hear them. What shows up in dreams is what's ready to be healed. But it requires listening. It requires silence to perceive. What part of you is still carrying a pain that wasn't born in this lifetime? Waking up tired, in this context, isn't weakness. It's a sign the soul is working, trying to dissolve millennia in a single night. And the more you ignore it, the more it repeats, the more it insists, the louder it screams through your exhausted body. Maybe you're not broken. Maybe you're just ancient. The frequency that heals or imprisons. Sleep is sacred, but like all things sacred, it requires a temple. And the question is simple. Is the place where you sleep a sanctuary or a prison disguised as a bedroom? Everything vibrates. The wood of the bed, the wall that holds memories of old arguments, the lamp that never fully turns off, the phone always within reach, even in silence, shouting out waves. Even objects have an aura. They hold stories. They carry fields that entangle with yours without asking for permission. You lie down thinking you'll rest, but you're settling into a space full of invisible noise. The frequency of the environment sets the tone for your sleep. If the field vibrates in fear, the body won't relax. If it vibrates in anger, the heart stays on alert. If it vibrates in guilt, the soul hesitates to let go. And so, even tired, you remain trapped in a silent cycle of disconnection. But there's a secret, an ancient code the ancients once knew. Deep sleep doesn't depend solely on the body. It depends on the vibration that surrounds you. It depends on the intention with which you surrender. A lit candle shifts the field. A gentle incense reprograms the air. A harmonious sound reorganizes the inner waves. The right music, played with an open heart, heals cracks no medicine can detect. Deep, fearless silence is an embrace for the soul that returns fragmented. Some people fall asleep to sacred words. Some pray. Some give thanks. Some ask for protection. It's not an empty ritual. It's frequency tuning. The body feels it. The soul knows it. When the environment respects the mystery of sleep, something within you begins to gather itself, to return whole, to trust the journey. And then rest is no longer a blackout. It becomes a rebirth. You don't need more hours of sleep. You need better vibrational quality, more care with the sounds, with the thoughts left loose in the room, with the feelings you lie down with. Sleeping is an energetic act, and the environment is part of the dream. So tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself, does the frequency around me imprison or heal me? The soul, like water, only rests where there is silence and respect. Night ritual of the ancient soul. Night was never just the end of the day. For ancient souls, it was a passage, a doorway, a ritual. Falling asleep for them was sacred. They didn't lie down just any way. They didn't surrender to sleep without first preparing the field. There were simple gestures, but powerful ones. Taking 3 deep breaths, placing a clear intention in the heart, covering the shoulders like putting on protection, turning off the light with reverence, not just in a rush. The old ones knew, sleep is a kind of death, and every dying requires care. Ritual silence, a beautiful goodbye between body and soul. But the world forgot, and haste stole the sacredness of night. Today, we fall asleep with a phone in hand, with a full mind, with a racing heart. We sleep in a jolt, like someone fainting, and we wake up as if we never fully returned. But the soul remembers. It remembers the herb baths, the sound of mantras, the eyes closed in gratitude, the prayer for protection before crossing the veil. You can reclaim that. You can create your own ritual. It doesn't have to be complex. It just has to be sincere. Light a candle and say, I am returning to myself. Play gentle music and declare, may this night be healing, not escape. Place a crystal on your chest and trust, may I return whole. These are not just gestures. They are codes. keys of remembrance for the ancient soul that lives within you. When you sleep with intention, the unconscious listens. It travels lighter paths, avoids the repetitive loops, and allows the soul to go far, but return in peace. This ritual needs no name, no rules, only presence, because resting is a right of the soul. But for it to rest, it must know it will be welcomed when it returns, welcomed with care, with respect, with light. Maybe what you're missing isn't sleep, but a ritual of return. When the body sleeps, the soul whispers. It never truly sleeps. The soul, even when the body shuts down, it remains in gentle vigil, as if watching over a sacred temple. It observes your dreams, guards your boundaries, and sometimes whispers truths you've forgotten to hear. How many times have you ignored that whisper? How many times have you felt that subtle discomfort upon waking, but rushed into the shower, the coffee, the world, leaving behind something that longed to be heard? The soul speaks through signs, not sentences. It shows itself through fatigue, through a body that doesn't respond, through a mind that forgets its dreams, through a chest that tightens as you open your eyes. This tiredness that follows you is not weakness. It's unaccessed memory, unwelcomed presence, the silent plea of someone who lives within you but hasn't been received. Waking up tired, day after day, is not normal. It's a call to return to your center, to remember that you are more than flesh and routine. You are energy in motion, consciousness in passage, light in a borrowed body. When the body sleeps, the soul whispers, "Hear me, take me with you. Don't leave me behind at the edge of sleep." Because every night is a portal, and every morning a return. And how you return changes everything. It changes the day. It changes your destiny. It changes how much of you is truly alive. Maybe the secret isn't sleeping more, but sleeping better, sleeping whole, sleeping with reverence. And when that happens, the tiredness dissolves, the soul expands, and waking up at last becomes a true new beginning. Sleep is the soul's most intimate crossing. If you wake up tired, perhaps you're living at night what you haven't had the courage to face during the day. But now you know, and knowing is the first step to resting with a soul at peace.